Hello everyone, artist Charles Wolf here. Today I have a 16 by 20 inch canvas that I have oriented as a portrait. I'm taking my 3-inch brush, very large, wide brush there, and I'm going to start with my titanium white, creating a circle following the outside border. Not a perfect circle by any means, doesn't need to be precise at all. We're just trying to create a layer of white all around the outside edges of our canvas. You can see I'm using horizontal brush strokes and using a fairly light touch, trying to get pretty good even coverage. We don't want too much texture at this point. We want to spread that paint out pretty evenly and smoothly as best we can. Keep your wrist relaxed as you're doing this. Use plenty of white paint. If you find that the paint is not coming off the brush nicely, you can add a bit of the matte liquid medium like I'm doing here. Helps to lubricate the paint and keep things nice and moving. You also can use a bit of water if you're using acrylic paint like I am today. Now I'm going to smooth out this a little more by some nice, very light flowing brush strokes across the whole canvas, trying to take out a lot of the excess brush work. Some more titanium white here at the bottom. Again, I'm going for that even coverage. I know it's a little hard to see the white paint on the white canvas, but it's visible. It's the very first step to this piece. In fact, initially I wasn't planning on covering up all of the white that I have on the canvas. As things progress, I do end up covering all of the canvas, and a lot of this white will be blended in to the other colors. Taking my bright brush, I have here some ultramarine blue and a bit of the Mars black. I'm going to mix those together, more blue than black, and begin spreading that out here, kind of in the middle, along a diagonal across. I'm not doing a perfect diagonal from corner to corner, more of a loose diagonal. And spreading that out, and as the blue hits the white, it becomes a little lighter. More of the blue, and a touch more black here at the back. Just tossing this in. If I continue the entire painting this way, you have a very interesting and dynamic painting indeed. But we're going to go back to the bigger brush soon enough and begin to blend this together more uniformly. Taking my large, clean 3-inch brush, I'm going to start smearing this down, like so, keeping the brushwork relaxed, and you can see that white is starting to mingle into the blue and the black, lightening up the entire section quite well, I would say. Pulling all the way down to the bottom corner of the canvas, creating a fairly smooth line here. I'm looking for it to be pretty straight. Some more of the blue and black there. Trying to catch this bottom edge. Pulling upwards with the opposite side of my brush. Bringing in some more of the ultramarine blue and Mars black mixture. Going to increase the intensity of this blue. Here on the camera, the blue is a little bit lighter than it is in person. It's a bit more in the gray family, this portion of the painting. Just keep that in mind when you see the final piece. It's a little more gray because of that black mixing with the white. It's not quite showing up 100% accurately here. Okay. Taking a 1-inch chip brush, I'm going to start bringing in some more of the titanium white here at the bottom. Smearing that in, lighten up this section. I feel like we lost some of that white at the beginning. Some more of the white, lifting upwards. Here with the 3-inch brush, blending that out. Gonna pull some of this blue down into the white. Probably should have cleaned my brush off a little better than I did. Starting to blend too much of that white into the blue, but that's okay. Okay, here's my bright brush again, cleaned, and I have some cadmium orange hue that I'm putting right onto the canvas, pure out of the bottle, right along this ridge line. Taking a bit of the matte liquid medium there, I'm lifting upwards with this orange. Trying my best not to get too far into the blue. You can see the white streaks are forming as I'm reaching up into that top corner where I have a lot of white on the canvas already from the beginning. If you work quickly, the white will not be dry when you get there. If you find that you get to that point and the white is not still there, you can always add a little more with a different brush, and then go ahead with the orange. Really like this idea of two contrasting elements, in this case ice and fire, sort of meeting in the center here. Now there's a little more white than I want it to be, so I'm going to go back with some more orange in a minute. But first we're going to clean up this edge here, pulling upwards gently, trying to straighten this edge a little bit better. And down from this side as well. We're going to cover up this center portion, so don't worry about making it look perfect, just pretty straight will do. Bringing in some more of the cadmium orange hue. Still using my large 3-inch brush. I find with abstracts, if you need to cover a large area, a larger brush will do just fine for that. Sometimes when you're painting landscapes, the size of a brush is a little unwieldy, but I always try to use the largest brush I can to get the effect that I want. If you use too small a brush, you'll spend your whole time picking at it, and you won't get anywhere very quickly. Because we're trying to do these painting videos in a reasonable amount of time and not take too long on each painting, that means that I need to be using the largest brush possible, which I am. Trying to make sure that the blue there that's poking underneath is covered up pretty well. Blending right up to that line. Yeah. If you want to follow me other places other than YouTube, you definitely can. I'm on Facebook, Impulsive Artistry. I'm on Twitter at ArtImpulsive. Again, that's at ArtImpulsive. Google+, also on Instagram, so you can check out my work at those places as well. Just look for Impulsive Artistry, except for on Twitter, it's Art Impulsive. I would love it if you would follow me. Give me a +1, like or subscribe. Maybe tweet at me. I'd love to talk to you more about painting. In fact, this week I had a fellow painter message me and asked me for some feedback on one of her paintings, which was fun to talk a little bit about painting. A couple of suggestions that I had for her work. You know who you are. Thank you for reaching out to me. It was a lot of fun talking to you. Okay, moving forward here, I have a bright brush, and I've taken some of the titanium white, put a little water with it, and a little bit of the matte liquid medium as well. You can see I'm just flinging it right onto the canvas. Now be careful, it's going to splatter pretty well, and if you're painting against a wall, kind of like I am, sometimes it can splatter up onto the background wall. Put a sheet up behind where you're doing this. They often recommend laying it flat on like a tarp or a canvas drop cloth. I could do that, I have those. I want you to be able to see. I didn't feel like resetting up my whole camera to show a different angle, so today I'm going to be careful as I can while I'm flinging paint around my studio. Trying not to make my studio room too messy, even though it is an artist studio and mistakes and spills do happen. We try to keep it clean if possible. So there's two different techniques here. One is to load the brush full of paint and just fling it, and you'll get the bigger splatters. The other one is to take and to riffle through the bristles with your finger and allow little tiny specks to form. So I'm kind of going back and forth between splattering large sections and then riffling through the bristles, sort of like you riffle through a deck of cards to get the smaller little speckles going on. Continuing here to wildly fling the paint around. I'm just kidding, I'm trying to control it to the center as much as possible. Branching out in a few spots, changing direction of the different swipes. Really focusing on having the most white be in the very, very center of the canvas. Trying not to control the paint too much. This technique you can approximate where you want the paint to go, and with practice you can get very accurate with it. Sort of the Pollock way of painting, I suppose. I've actually never done a painting like this where I introduce some Pollock splatters to the painting. It's kind of fun actually. Alright, put a little more white on my canvas there, some fresh white, wanted some bigger spots with the paint. So how much of the splattering you want to do is really up to personal preference. I probably could have done even more than I did on this painting, really covered up that center line a little better. But it's really up to you. If you want something that looks a little more uniform than the sharp contrast that I have in this painting, you could do the entire backdrop blue and then do the splatters on top, and that would look very, very nice. You could do the entire background orange. I chose to do like a half and half approach, but it's up to you. I think in the end I actually decided to hang this painting upside down from how I'm painting it now. Felt the splatters looked better as they were trailing down, or trailing upwards in this case. Alright, lots of splatters here in the center. Using the rest of that paint, really putting a lot of force behind each of those flicks. Taking my cleaned off bright brush, here I'm putting a lot of the black paint straight from the tube, just flicking it across. Adds a nice bit of contrast against the white. Really flicking it hard. not as much black as we have the white. This process is actually a lot of fun. I'm having a great time painting this way. And here's the final piece.